Would you like to learn an amazingly delicious recipe for a seafood stuffed lobster? Just like this? Well, in this episode of the Lisa D's Delight Show, I'm going to show you how to make the most amazing seafood stuffed lobster. We're going to use some crab, some shrimp, some scallops, and Marsala wine. You make this dish for Daddy on Father's Day, he's guaranteed to love you long time.
Lisa D Delight. Got noises in my stomach, so I guess I'm feeling hungry. I click that YouTube Lisa D so I can kill this rumbling. But when I'm in the kitchen, don't know what I'm doing. Lisa D Delight.
First of all, here's a word of wisdom. Never send your adult child to the store to buy you a lobster, because he just might come back with a cooked lobster when you ask for a raw one. Woosah. But anyway, we're not wasting no lobster, child. We're gonna make this cooked lobster do what it do. The shopping list, measurements, and such will be in the description box below. But ideally, you want a raw lobster, some scallops, some crab meat, and some jumbo shrimp. Some lump crab meat would be good, but I happen to have some crab legs left over from a prior recipe, so I'm using the knuckles from those. So clean all your seafood, of course, and then we're going to cut the shrimp right in half, just like so. The reason we cut it is to stretch it a little bit, and so that the shrimp will be distributed all throughout the stuffing, the seafood stuffing up, so you get a little taste of shrimp in every bite. So just slit the shrimp in half like this. Again, I'm gonna show you one more time for the slow ones in the back. I'm just kidding. Happy early Father's Day to all the fathers out there. I think this would be a nice recipe that you can make for Daddy or hubby. If you do still have your dad in your life, just know that you are blessed. I lost my dad when I was about 18, and I miss him so much. But anyway, cut the scallops into threes, just like that. Because I'm a genius, I lost the clip, but also chopped up a little onion, red bell pepper, yellow bell pepper, and orange bell pepper. We're gonna use that in our seafood stuffing. So like I said, you really wanna make this recipe with a whole lobster that is raw. Ideally, it really should be a lobster that's still alive to ensure the ultimate freshness. And because I'm so sensitive about my ish, I will be doing another lobster video to show you how to prepare this recipe the correct way. Only my lobster will still be dead. It'll be raw, but it'll be dead, because I am not about to get killed by no sea creature, child. But what I'll probably do is put on my big girl panties and bring the lobster home alive and put it in a Ziploc baggie and leave it in the refrigerator in the baggie overnight. And then by the morning, he'll be in a better place, and so will I, and then I'll let him come out and play. I named my lobster LL Cool Claw because he's cute and yummy, just like my favorite rapper from back in the day. Sorry, LL Boo, Mama said knock you out. So we're gonna butterfly him up. So take the point of your knife and stick it into LL's head. Make sure your knife is very sharp and go straight down his back, down his tail, but do not cut all the way through. We just want to butterfly him. And then turn him around and point the knife back into where you started and cut his head the other direction, just like so. Then gently open LL's body yaddy yaddy. I think this was a male lobster too. Male lobsters generally have thinner tails than the females. The females' tails are a little wider because they have to carry eggs and stuff. Some people cut the lobster down the belly, but I like to do it this way for presentation purposes. It looks more pretty, but what does not look pretty is all this guck up in here. It's hard to tell because this lobster is cooked already, but if you see a light green line, that is called the tamale, and that is the pancreas and the liver. And if you see a dark green line, that means it's a female, and that dark green thingy is called the roe, and it's actually her unfertilized eggs. All that stuff used to be considered a delicacy, like caviar back in the days. So some people do eat it. I didn't pay your mortgage this month, so I can't tell you what to do, but Lisa D does not eat none of that. Some cooks take the roe out and add it to their stuffing mixture. They say it makes it taste really good. No, thank you. So basically everything inside LL's body is edible. If you would like to eat it, you may. But me, I'll be throwing it out, and then after this, I'm gonna rinse it out and pat it dry with a paper towel. I don't want no lobster cooties. By the way, my hands are impeccably clean. Shout out to my girl Gina Young. There actually is a little bit of meat in the body of LL. Not a lot, but there is a little lobster meat in the body. Sometimes it makes me sad that dads sometimes get overlooked and the mamas always get most of the shine. So what I think that you should do is bless daddy or hubby with a surf and turf. Yes, baby, you can make him a reverse seared ribeye steak to go with this lobster. Oh my goodness, that would be so yummy. Oh, you don't know how to make the reverse seared ribeye steak? Girl, I'll show you. Recipe above. In that video, I even show you how to make some super yummy bacon butter to go with the ribeye. You're welcome. Now let's season LL up. Put the lobster in a lightly greased baking dish or a cast iron pan. Preheat your oven to 400. You want to hit them with a little lemon juice. One time for the one time. You can't have seafood without fresh lemon. If you've been a part of the LDD family for a while, you know how I feel about better than bouillon products, especially the lobster base. It makes all seafood taste amazing. One of the reasons I love it too is because it has such phenomenal flavor that it's just one and done. You don't really need to add anything else when you use this better than bouillon lobster base. So put about a half a teaspoon of the better than bouillon lobster base all over the lobster and rub it in. Get it all up in the creases and the crevices. Yeah. I know I said you don't need anything else, but I cannot make seafood without Old Bay. I just can't do it, child. I can't. So put on some Old Bay, not too much, just a little bit, and also some white pepper to give us a little heat. Perhaps daddy doesn't like lobster. Maybe he's not into that. You can make him a seafood stuffed salmon instead. I have an amazing recipe for that as well. Like to see it? Here it goes. You're welcome. After you rubbed up LL Cool Claw real good, then we're gonna hit him with a little garlic butter. The garlic butter is going to ensure that he stays nice and moist and even more flavorful when he's roasting in the oven. I make my own garlic butter or compound butter because it adds amazing flavor to so many different dishes. So I'll put the recipe for my garlic butter above also. But if you don't have garlic butter, all you have to do is mix some melted butter with some fresh garlic, some shallots, and some parsley, fresh parsley. Whenever a recipe calls for fresh parsley, you really want to try to use the flat leaf Italian parsley because that has a nice fresh flavor. The curly parsley doesn't really have flavor, it just gives you a vibrant color. Once you've gotten LL all nice and moist with the yummy garlic butter, we're gonna let him rest and absorb all that deliciousness while we work on our seafood stuffing. Heat up a frying pan on medium-high heat and then add in some more yummy garlic. Once the garlic butter has melted beautifully like this, then add in about a teaspoon more of the better than bouillon lobster base and stir that up magnificently like this, and then add in your onions, red bell pepper, yellow bell pepper, and orange bell pepper. Let that cook down nicely for about 2 minutes. And then we're gonna add in our seafood. Add the seafood into this, and then we're gonna season our seafood mixture just a little bit. Seafood is so delicate that you never want to over season seafood because it'll just overpower everything. So once you add the seafood to this, hit it with some more lemon. Gotta have the lemon on seafood. Also add in a little more Old Bay. I love the garlic and herb Old Bay, but not much, just a little bit. And also add in a little bit of white pepper, as well as some dried parsley. This is for color, it has no flavor, but we want it to look pretty and vibrant. Let the seafood cook for about 1 minute, and then we're gonna add in our binding agent, which is Ritz garlic butter crackers. If you haven't tried these crackers, you really need to try them. They are so yummy, and they really add a nice flavor and texture to this recipe. Just put about 10 crackers into your food processor and grind them up, or you can put the crackers into a baggie and mash them up. Next, we're gonna go in with some Marsala wine. This wine just adds additional yummy flavor and balances everything out nicely. But if you don't have Marsala wine, just use any kind of wine. It'll still be good. Let this cook for about 1 minute. We don't want to overcook the seafood because it is going to continue to cook once we stuff it and put it in the oven. You jiggling, baby? Go ahead, baby. You ready, baby? Go ahead, baby. Let's stuff LL. He's ready. Take the seafood mixture and gently stuff it all up and in Mr. LL. And don't forget to cross his claws. You know that's what cool lobster wrappers do. The only difference between making it this way with a cooked lobster as opposed to making it with a raw lobster is the cook time. So I'm just gonna broil mine on the lowest rack in my oven, farthest away from the broiler, especially because the seafood is actually pretty much already done anyway. And I just love the look, the charred look that broiling it gives. So I'm gonna broil it for about 10 minutes. But if your lobster is raw, you wanna bake it at 400 for about 20 minutes. So when the internal temperature reaches 135 to 140, the lobster is done. That's actually a pro tip because you don't wanna overcook your lobster. You don't want any rubbery lobster. That's why I strongly suggest when making lobster to use a food thermometer. Stick it in the thickest part of the lobster tail, and when it reaches 135 to 140, it's done. This last step is optional. I like to top mine with some additional garlic butter before it goes in the oven because I'm fat and greedy and I love this garlic butter. Don't judge me, you don't know my life. But what you must do is put a little bit of water in the pan before you put it in the oven and sprinkle some dry parsley on top so it can look pretty. And bake it uncovered, by the way. Once LL Cool Claw is done, he will look like this. Yes, my God, forever. Look at this lobster. When I tell you that it came out super duper yummy, right hand to Jesus, it sure did. And thank you to my Lord and Savior for always blessing me and my LDD family and always providing us with good food to eat. Baby, if you don't make this recipe, you are crazy as heck. But don't take my word for it. Let's see what my chief tasting officer has to say. You ready to taste the lobster? How is it? Do you approve? Is it yummy? You like it? You eating lobster? You need a job. Always remember, when you cook from your heart with love, you can't go wrong. Have a delicious and delightful day. Bye.
Make sure you like and subscribe, and you make it so good. Make sure you like and subscribe, and you make it so good. Make sure you like and subscribe, and you make it so good. Make sure you like and subscribe, and you make it so good. Make sure you like and subscribe.